Hello, hello, hello. Super excited to have my two best friends on a little best friend episode for You or More. As I said in the intro, they're my two longest and closest friends. So welcome to the show, Kel and Al.
Thanks. Thanks for having us.
Of course. So Kel's coming in from Boston and Alex is coming in from Ontario, but I figured the most classic thing for us to do before we get started into all the questions is a frickin' cheers, because I don't even cheers to life.
You know what's ironic though is this little cheers is giving 2020 like vibes, which like gather via FaceTime, which is like a little mind mess up right now.
I know, that was like 5 years ago, but
I can't believe it's been that long.
I feel sick thinking about it. But I had already kind of done a little intro for you guys, so I kind of want to dive right in because we got lots to talk about. Obviously, we're going to talk about, I'm warning people, this is probably the most emotional podcast episode. Probably should have some Kleenex too, but I wanted to start off kind of fun because you guys have known me for so long. So what's one thing about me that people wouldn't assume? That's not the media Emily, or not the Colby Cave's widow, or the influencer Emily. What's one thing when you think of me that all of a side that you think of? Whoever can go first.
I can go first if you want. M's love for food. People would not guess it because of her size, but that girl loves especially pizza and cookie dough.
Mm-hmm.
There has been countless nights that we've polished off like an entire tube of cookie dough, raw. Yes, I know. So good for you. And once after one of my surgeries, she actually snuck pizza into the hospital so that me and her could eat it. So she loves her food. She eats more than you would ever guess. And cookie dough is the way to her heart.
It's true.
That's a good one, because when we were flying to Nashville, I was like, oh, do you want to stop and get something, before we get on the plane? And she's like, yeah, let's go to this place, and then ate an entire steak before we got on a plane. I was like, what are you doing?
I was carb loading. I was preparing.
Protein loading, which, I mean, in hindsight, we were going to see we were going to meet up with you, Alex. So
I know that trip was,
in hindsight, that protein was very neat.
We needed it. We lived off of tacos for the rest of the weekend.
Yep. So my little funny thing about you, Em, I think about this day all of the time, and people from Canada probably know this about you, but I remember this day happening and being like, what are you doing? So I don't know if you remember this story, but I came over and met up with you and our other friend Joelle and got snowed in at the apartment, and we actually walked to that little convenience corner store in Providence and got ice cream and candy, and we're gonna have just a day. And this car, it's tons of snow coming down, and this car just spins out, is stuck in the middle of the intersection. And me being a New Englander from Boston is ooh, that's not my problem. Just keep walking. You literally put all your stuff down in the snowbank, on the side. Mind you, there's snow coming down. It's the middle of an intersection, traffic, and you are over there pushing this car out. And I was like, what are you doing? That's so dangerous. And you come back and you're like, oh, sorry, you weren't going to help him? And I was like, no, in the intersection. And you're like, oh, we're from Canada. We just help people out all the time. We're just so nice. And I was like, oh God, I need to do some self-reflection, because that was not crossing my mind.
Totally remember that day. I think me and Joelle jumped right in and we're trying to push it out. I think we eventually got it out.
In very quickly. You guys were just and the car went
small but mighty. Yeah, strong and mighty.
Dumbfounded. So that's one of my funny memories and things about you, is that everybody probably knows this already. You're willing to kind of give for people all the time, do for people all the time, which obviously we know it was listening to this podcast, but to see it in like raw action like that was like pretty funny. And this was like, I don't know, 2015, 2016, like we just became friends. And
that was wild. I totally remember that day. I totally miss New England snowstorms. I feel like they're just like, I don't know. I feel like they're like magical. I don't know, but I'm like a Boston girl at heart, I swear.
yeah, for sure.
But speaking back on, so Alex, obviously we met when I was in grade 9, in Barrie, Ontario, when I joined the rugby team. long time ago. It actually makes me feel really old. Kel, we met when Cole came to Boston, and we met through the team there. Looking at, just like during that time, I think what's really cool is that when Alex would like come to visit, she got to know you, Kel, and then now like all 3 of us are like friends. Like both of you were my bridesmaids and me and Colby's wedding. Obviously, Alex came to your wedding, Kel. Then Alex had Everett, and like us, like being a part of that and seeing him grow. So I feel like we've all seen each other through like
all the different seasons
and stages. I always say that if like I was in trouble, I feel like it would be because me and Alex. Here's how I think it goes. I think someone upsets me, Alex punches them out. And Kelly, you're thinking like long term how we all escape out of jail. Like I think that's like the dynamic here. Like Alex and me are like the reactive, like
ginger rage.
Let's F and go.
Yeah.
And Kel's like back, she's like checking, and then she has this like master plan to like
I'm like, guys, wait, let's think about this first. And you guys are like, no,
get us out of jail.
I can't help it. I always felt like your bigger sister. And whenever anyone is mean to you or I don't like the situation,
I feel like
angry
grade 9.
Yeah,
the grade 9
side of me comes out and I just get like way too much. And then Kelly's going to have to bail us out of jail.
It reminds me of the time.
Yeah, actually. Speaking of
honestly,
that Nashville trip.
Shocking. I was just about to bring that up before we get into like more like other stuff. That Nashville trip was, so for like a backstory, that was the first time we all saw each other. I mean, Kel, I hadn't seen you a year and a half till after Colby died because of COVID. And then I flew to Boston. We flew together in Nashville and met Alex. And we had like a morbid like girls trip, but like a YOLO trip. And it was just like, I have this video of me and Alex on the floor in Jason Aldean, and Kel is taking it. And I remember sending it to my family being like, this is the most fun I've had since like Colby passed away. And I think it like still like I get emotional thinking about it so because that trip is hands down like the most funnest trip I think I've ever been. Like nothing will be like, it was so much fun. And those like burrito trucks. And then Kelly, classic Kelly, like just leaves the bar and leaves me and Alex.
We had so many people message both Em and
I'm going to bed.
Yeah, being like, did you guys abandon her? Where is she? And we're like, no, she just put herself to sleep.
Your mom messaged me, Kellen.
I ordered pizza. And we were like, just, I mean, I feel like a lot of people listening to this have been to Broadway. Like, it's a very popular destination. Like, we were not far from the hotel. And it was, I could literally, like, see the hotel from where we were. And so I was like, listen, it's 1 a.m. I'm done. I gotta go. And so I just went back, got pizza, watched TV, and then I was watching like true crime, like television. And then I was like, I just left my friends at the bar.
You're like 2 Canadian friends.
This is like
at the bar.
True crime 101 when they're like, what did you do last night? And I'm like, I left them there. Like, what was I thinking, officer? I don't know.
I remember too, we knew that Brendy was like buying your engagement ring and talking to your parents like during that weekend that we were in Nashville, and you kept like checking his location too. And I was like, Kelly, stop. Like, I'm like, Kelly, you can't look. But that trip, honestly, that video is like, I feel like that was like the first time I was like genuinely happy and having like a glimpse of myself again.
Yeah. I finally saw you smile and come out of your shell.
Got a little bit of like my sparkle back. But I mean, that had been like a year and a half. But yeah, that trip That trip was so funny. Yeah, it was such a fun trip. I feel like you missed Nashville last time me and Kellie and Alex, so we got to go back just the three
Shout
of
out
us.
to Jason Aldean's.
Yes.
Second floor.
Thank you.
For just like fun,
good
glorious
vibes. Jason Aldean's, and then what was our other favorite one?
I think we liked Florida Georgia Line that weekend.
We did go to Florida Georgia Line too.
That was fun.
And then me and you
also,
snuck out.
Big-ish shout out goes to the burrito truck that was like kitty corner to our hotel that is still there to this day, like 5 years later. They have the best spicy like dipping sauce.
No, I'm so sad I missed it.
Okay, now let's get into some nitty gritty stuff. What is your guys' favorite memory of Colby? And I'm gonna drink as you talk about it because I'll probably cry.
Do you want to go first, Cal, or me?
I'll go first for this one. Because this one is one that I am going to really try not to like get emotional, which I probably will, so sorry in advance. But so I've told this story to many people. Emily, I think you know the story I'm going to tell. I have two favorite memories. One of them being just like grouped together all of the holidays we spent together at my family's house. Just when you guys were in Boston, and particularly like Easter, your birthday, just all the different times we got together.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. And Colby was always so like thoughtful about things, and he would like make, he made scallops wrapped in bacon, and he
was such a good cook. Was
just like so thoughtful about like the things he was bringing to someone's home, and like was just always so respectful and nice and kind. And so that's like one. That's my just like regular one. But my favorite memory of Colby is probably like your entire bridal shower weekend, but particularly I flew in to Toronto like 6 a.m.
First time you ever flew into Canada, you had to get a passport for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I had to get a passport for this. Like, and I was like, what, 25? Like it was.
You were so excited about a stamp.
Yeah. So excited to get a passport stamp. Like, oh my God, it's my first time getting my passport stamped. Like, yay. Lo and behold, they like don't do that anymore. I didn't know that. And so I walk out of like customs and baggage, and I see you standing there, and I'm like, where's Colby? Like, you didn't drive here yourself. Like, where is he? And you're like, well, it's a funny story. The car like broke down or got a flat tire or whatever it was. I don't remember exactly what happened. He's about 2 miles from here. And I was like, oh my God, that's horrible. And it's like 8 a.m. and it was a Friday. It was definitely like commuter time. And so we got in an Ubered to where his car was broken down, which was like an intersection. Like it wasn't, in a parking lot or anything. And he walks out. There's a Tim Hortons across the street. He walks out of a Tim Hortons with a box of Timbits, and he's like, Kellie, hey! Mind you, this is such a pain for him. His car just broke down. He's in an intersection. And all this man is concerned about is making sure that I get like this warm welcome to Canada. And I've never had Tim Hortons. So he's like, brings over a box of Timbits and coffee. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe like, this is like, kind of a pain for you. And so it was so nice and so funny. And so we finally get the tow truck driver. The tow truck driver is like thinking he's towing the car like around the block. And Colby's like
2 hours away.
I need you to tow me, back to Barrie. And we spend this whole ride with this guy. And the guy eventually figures out who Colby is. And he was like, oh my God, wait a second. Are you Colby Cave? And Colby's just so humble about it. And so like, oh yeah, that's me. And we have a photo of the four of us, you and me, Em, in the back drinking coffee, and Colby and the driver up front. And it was just so funny. He dropped us off.
Like a selfie with the tow truck driver?
Yeah, we took a selfie.
To start my bridal shower weekend off.
Yes. And then like, so that was just such a funny night or funny morning. And then later that night, all of us, including Alex, went out and just kind of like went around downtown Barrie, and we were in this like country and western bar.
The ranch.
There was no there. It
was Friday.
It could have even been like a Thursday. It could have maybe even been a Thursday.
I mean, I think we were like the only
We were.
5 or 6 people, or there's some of your friends from home, so it must have been like 8 of us. But we were like the only people there.
Yeah, there's a video of Em and Colby dancing, and the dance floor is completely empty.
And that night was so much fun. Like, we just like went to a bar and like danced by ourselves. It was just such a fun time. And like that whole weekend was just so funny and one of my favorite memories. And I just think that like whole thing like just truly spoke about like who Colby was as a person.
Like, he was like calm, cool, collective. Never, all the years we were together, I never heard him once raise his voice, never like once like get upset, like no victim mentality. Like, he literally like never complained once. Like, ever. Like,
made the best of every situation too.
Yes.
And like was caring about other people's experience,
even in his own crappy time. He was still thinking like
2 hours from home, and he's like, Kellie's coming and she's never been to Canada, like gotta give her the Canada experience. And it's like,
it was too like the people that were important to Em were super important to Colbs, because he cared about your people like we were his people too.
I couldn't agree with that more, and I think that's like really important. What about you, Al? I know where this one is.
So I was trying to rack my brain there, and I was like, I have a few. Like, obviously, I came to Boston, would stay the weekend with you guys. But I think my favorite Colby memory wasn't directly Colby related, but it was when he got called up for his first NHL game. So I had met this guy on Bumble, bailed on him already for one date. I'm going to laugh through this. And I had rescheduled this date and had just gotten there. And I get like 5 phone calls from them, like, pick up your phone, I need you, pick up your phone. And I'm like, what? So I answer the phone as I'm walking. I can see the guy. I'm walking towards him. And she tells me that Colby's been called up to the NHL and that she needs to get on a plane in the next like hour and a half. And she's in Barrie right now. And it's about an hour to get to Toronto. So she's like, Alex, I need you. And I'm like,
I was flying quarter 2, so we had to get downtown Toronto.
We had to get downtown Toronto. And I was like, oh my God, we're making it. And then I was like, okay, yeah, sure. I'm like, but you have to tell the guy. So she's like, okay, fine. She's like, put him on the phone. And I hand this phone to this stranger that I had met on Bumble. And I was like, I'm sorry. And I don't know what Em said, but she basically told the guy, like, look, I need my best friend and you're going to have to reschedule, which obviously never ended up happening. But I raced. Yeah, worked out for the best. I raced to Em's house, grabbed her and her mom, and took their vehicle, and we booked it to Porter. Like, I think you had minutes to spare on that flight. She ended up obviously making it to his first game, and I got a text message from Colby. It was a few days later, but it was just super sweet, thanking me for making sure that Em was there and how it was such a big moment for him, and it wouldn't have been the same without her. And it touched me that I'm going to get emotional. It touched me that I got to be a little bit part of his hockey journey and like your journey with him. And it was special that he even took time to like acknowledge that, which obviously we're saying like Colby is an amazing person and would do all that, but it was sweet. I remember getting the text and it made me happy.
I think that guy was just like, I was like, were we engaged yet? No, I don't think we were engaged when he was called up for the first time. And I was like, my boyfriend just got called up. I'm like, but it's not posted yet, so you can't say anything. I was like, but it will be posted in a few hours. I promise you I'm not lying. And then, yeah, you like booked me. My mom didn't feel like comfortable like driving, so you like drove and like booked us down there. And I was like, yeah, I remember getting off the flight. But Colby texting you and like, I mean, even that, like, that's what best friends are for. Like, I wouldn't have gotten to his game. No one would have been there for him. And that is one of my favorite Colby moments still to this day, is like watching him go on that ice and like fulfill that dream. Like that can never be beat. Nothing will ever beat that moment. So yeah, it was really cool, like, getting to experience that. And I know in the book too, Kelly, I talk about like all the times I was at your family's house and your dad would like get us drunk with your like folk and pores and like grasshoppers. And then he'd like look at his
Right.
phone and it would be like, Don Sweeney, like you're being called up. And then we would have to like go to the gym, sprint out the alcohol, and then get our butts up to Boston. Like, I feel like you two are like the good, like little good luck charms too.
Wow, I forgot about that. I don't know how that wasn't one of my favorite memories with him. Yeah, like kind of just like a joke. It started as a joke and then it happened like 4 times.
Mhm.
So it really wasn't a joke, but we were like, you have to like think your season's over. And you have to like drink old fashions with my dad. And when you're like just a little bit too drunk, you're gonna get called up.
Just in full disclaimer, he never played drunk. It was always the next day, or he was flying out before I get any crazy messages.
Oh gosh.
He never played drunk. He was always very...
No, it wasn't like the same day. It was like days.
I feel like I have to say that now these days.
Seriously.
But yeah, I feel like there are so many countless memories that you like look back on, and yeah, you're just so thankful for like our wedding and like how fun that was. And yeah, it's just all like super special. Okay, this is gonna be a tough one. The week Colby got sick, there was multiple calls for different reasons that kind of came into place. So just I'll kind of talk about mine and then you guys can like fill in the blanks. For me, when Cole didn't really wake up that morning and we were kind of rushing and paramedics took him away. Obviously, I called you, Alex, being a paramedic in the system, being like, can you get me information? And it was actually you that contacted someone at the hospital who got through to the doctor, who then the doctor was able to call me, because me and my mom called you like frantically being like, do you know the paramedic on duty? How can you like find out information in the emergency room, etc. So I remember that call with you, Alex. And that was on the Tuesday. The 4 days are wonky. We can get into that. Each of you guys can talk about it. And then Kelly, I remember a call with you on the Saturday. Don't really remember what I said, but I remember where I was sitting, and I just remember being in the green chair and he had already passed. And I don't think I could even say anything really. I was just screaming and crying. So those were obviously like the 2 calls. There was obviously a lot more during that week. But yeah, Alex, just from your opinion, getting that call for those days, and then Kelly, kind of you finding out, and all of us kind of navigating all of that. Honestly, I'm pretty sure I just texted you guys on Saturday, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I just said he's dead. I don't know like the full details. To be honest, it's all kind of this big blur. So yeah, Alex, you can talk about.
Yeah, I think Kelly and I could probably tag team this question here.
Yeah.
Em talked about it in her book and a little bit there. She FaceTimed me the morning that she woke up and Colby didn't. At her parents' house. And I just remember I answered the FaceTime. It was relatively early and she's screaming at the phone and I couldn't understand her at first. And then all I heard her say was, I think Colby's dead. He won't wake up. And I just got shivers, but it brings back that memory where I'm like, what are you talking about? And then she turns it to her face and she's white. And she's like, Colby's dead. He won't wake up. And I was like, go put him on FaceTime. And she brought the FaceTime over to me. And then I instantly was like, go get your parents. Like, you need to call 911. And I remember being like, do I call 911? Like, do I stay on the phone with her? Do I do all that?
Well, I was also scared with the COVID of
going. So you guys have to remember, this is the height of COVID. Like, she's sanctioned in her parents' basement because they had a walkout suite. So her and Colby had flown back from California and they were quarantining there for the 2 weeks until they were going to be allowed. So she put rubber gloves on, like her masks. She ran up the stairs and got her mom. And her mom, I'm still on FaceTime the entire time. They called for paramedics, and I don't know, Em, if you meant to or whatever, but you had left the FaceTime on. And I just remember sitting there listening to you cry and like your mom trying to console you and these paramedics trying to figure out what was wrong. But everyone will obviously, like, I worked in that time. Like, it was scary. We didn't really understand what was going on. They weren't so quick with their questioning and their assessment.
I think that really upset me.
And like,
And I'm
I
glad you
remember
were on that, because I think when
I
they
yelled at
came
them.
down and they just saw what had happened, is actually my parents had ordered us all the wine from our wedding, because we were going to be like quarantining, so that when we couldn't get it in Ontario, and we had like wine out. That wasn't even, I think we just opened one bottle that night. We had like wine out, all this like a big Costco, like food, all that, and they walked down, and I think they just assumed NHL player.
They
He
saw like
must
a
have been
6'3"
drinking. And
man.
when he was on the couch and they weren't acting fast, and then when they did the like pinch the shoulder, the like chest, whatever, and you're supposed to like react, and they didn't, it was like this flip. It was this flip switch. Like, and I feel I'm a little annoyed.
Yeah. Yeah. And then from there, what Em was talking about is I have a friend who works at the hospital in Barrie. And I just was like, we got to find a way to get into the hospital. Because at the time, there was no visitors or anything. And like, we need to find answers out. Like, we need to know what's happening. So I remember I hung up with you and I called Wit and just basically explained the situation to her and was like, I don't know if you can do anything. And she's like, you know what? I'll go down to Emerge. Even if I can't get her in, at least I can be on the phone. And then from there is how you got your information and all of that. Then Colby got airlifted to Sunnybrook, which is our trauma center here in Ontario. And from there, I guess for the next 3-4 days, Kellie and I, we didn't really talk to Em a lot. Like, obviously she had so much that she was going through and like everyone in the world was messaging her and like, but Kellie and I, we talked a lot those 3 days. And, I just remember being so scared, not scared. It's like I deal with death in my job and like all of that, but like scared for like what was going to happen. And so Kellie and I kind of made a plan in like a pact that one of us would message her every 2 hours. And even if she didn't pick up our phone call or a text message, like it was our job to make sure that she was at least okay. Kellie, you want to keep going?
Yeah, like Kel, talk about from when you found out, kind of like how Alex did.
Yeah, so I can't remember. I think that in some point in that first day that you had either called or texted me, and I think you called me and you were like, this was after the paramedics, after everything. So this was like,
I think helicopter.
Yeah, so this was later, and you were like, I called Alex and da-da-da, and I think he's dead and da-da-da. And I was like, holy, no. We FaceTimed with him last night. Like, he's fine. What are you talking about? So I then get on the phone with Alex. I'm like, tell me what's going on.
Yeah, you were like, he's going to be fine. Like, we talked to him last night.
And I said the same thing to Alex. I was like, he's fine. This doesn't make any sense. And so Alex and I both have a medical background, obviously. And so we're getting like bits and pieces and tidbits of information about his status. And both of us already know that this is not good. Like, but in my brain and in my heart, I was like, he's going to be fine. Like, he's going to be fine. Like, I know this, he might not play hockey again, but he's going to be fine. And I feel like I clung on to that thought process and that feeling for a couple days, at least.
Yeah, you did.
And, then we were like, Alex and I were going back and forth a lot, being like, okay, well, like, he's intubated, but like, that's okay. People come off of ventilators all the time. Like, and pretty much ignoring my medical background and, just to have hope and pray. And I think all of us on this call right now, like, believe in the power of prayer. And so I think we were clinging to that really, really, really hard. But yeah, Alex and I
think my mom was updating you a little bit more.
We were definitely in communication with your family for sure. So I guess like I kind of want to jump a little bit to when we found out, because I think that speaks a lot to what Alex and I did after. And I remember standing outside the PICU at the children's hospital I worked at the time and getting a phone call from you. And you were...
I think I just got back from seeing his body.
Get emotional. Incoherent. Like screaming, crying. I think this was Friday or Saturday. He passed away shortly after this call, I believe.
So Friday.
And it was just awful. And your mom took the phone, like, tell me what's going on. Take a deep breath. Tell me what's going on. Which I probably wasn't the best thing to say at the time. Your mom took the phone and, told me, and it was like that was like the most gut-wrenching day of my life, I think, until like the next day. And I believe that there was some texts and phone calls. To be honest, I don't fully remember, because I think that's a little bit of something I block out in my own brain. But Alex and I had this conversation the day that we found out he passed away. And first of all, we talked about how much we love Colby and just how amazing of a person he was. But
Did I text you guys at 3 a.m. that I was going to the body, or did I call? Like,
I think
that's where I get wonky.
I think it was a text message.
Yeah, I was working that night. I remember I was sitting in the front of the ambulance and I got the text message.
And we were really afraid for what the next steps were, what the next few days, months, years were going to bring. She's with this amazing guy. They're going to have this amazing life, and he's going to take care of her. And he's such an awesome person. To have that ripped away from you like a few months later was just awful. Yeah, I think that Alex and I talked on the phone, and over text and over FaceTime
A lot.
multiple times a day. We had a group chat. We were texting privately saying like, okay, like
You were also
reach out.
texting with
Okay,
Kim, Colby's
yeah,
mom.
if we don't hear from her, like, we're going to call her mom, we're going to call her sister, like, we're going to call people. We have to have an answer. Like, and that was our pact to each other. Like, we're going to reach out every couple of hours and we need to have an answer from her.
You said something to me, not too long ago. I mean, I guess it was like, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago when I was in Boston, and you said, we were talking about certain people in my life. And you said, unless you were there, I remember it was me, you, and Brendy, and we're kind of like by your island. And like, unless you were there and you knew me during that time, you will never fully understand like the trauma. And you were like, we had just lost Colby, and then we were now fighting to keep you alive too, and just try to keep me going. And I think COVID didn't help any of that. I mean, normally you guys would be able to come over that day, be there during the week, whatever. Kelly, you weren't allowed to cross the border.
Yeah,
Alex, you were
I
stuck.
came to your porch and dropped you off food, and like I wasn't even allowed to hug you. Like I had to leave
You were standing
food
6 feet away,
I
which
mean,
is like so
like in
messed up.
normal times, like what do you do when somebody passes away? You're at their house, you're making them take a shower, you're bringing them meals and flowers and gathering. And that's how you grieve losses, is sharing pictures and laughing and talking about the person. And during COVID, like, not only was this a profound and unexpected loss, it was at a time where everybody had to be distanced. And as a friend that experienced the loss as well, like that was really hard and really scary. And it's definitely something I will never, ever forget.
Yeah, I remember the day after I believe Colby died, and Kelly messaged me, and like we had already known, and then the text came in and she goes, I can't believe he just passed. And I was like, we just had a conversation about this. And she was like, no, I think I just registered that it's actually real now. And we talked about this too, that like we're watching Em grieve and we're trying to be there for her. And then we're like,
The whole
we
world
lost.
grieved.
Yeah, the whole world grieved. But then we were like, we didn't even get to also grieve until because we were trying to make everything okay. And then watching you go through something that I don't think anyone will ever go through a situation like you did again, like unless there's another World War plague or whatever. But like nobody's going to have all of the deck stacked against them like you did. And it was a lot.
I mean, the colloid cyst, extremely rare, non-cancerous brain tumor, severely bad luck, like COVID, the world watching him die. I can't even talk about him dying
Not
alone.
even being able to be there. Like,
I can't even
like that doesn't happen.
talk about it. I get so, yeah, I just remember, I remember the phone calls on Tuesday, and then Saturday, I remember like you guys made me that like birthday video with Kim and Brian and Dior and Shane. My birthday was like 2 weeks later. The flowers, like it was just, so I think you nailed it when you said not that long ago, Kelly, like none of these people are going to get it because they haven't, like, they weren't there. Like, it's like surreal to even think about, as you say, Alex, like all these stacks
Like
happening
you've
in
had
plain.
haters come at you saying like there's no way any of this is real and like all of that, like all of the details. People they are. They basically were publicized. She had everything go wrong all like against her.
Yeah. And in terms of the people who like don't get it or choose or just are not open-minded enough to be empathetic in that way, what I would say to you, and like I think that you like kind of started saying this, but it's a privilege to grow old and it's a privilege to not know that profound loss. And so if you've never had to lose a friend like that, or you've never had to worry about your friend's mental health to the point where you and your other friend are calling and texting every hour or two, then like good for you. And I'm glad that you have not had to experience that, because nobody should. But it's true and people have. And one of the things that I think makes it difficult in its own way is that people were home and people were not out doing the things they normally do. So there was a lot of rumors circulating. And I remember like reading articles that like he had a brain aneurysm or he had COVID or like, and it's like, that's not, none of that is true. And like, and that just, I feel like added extra layers. And so.
And I think too, like, I mean, even still to this day, like I have these like moments where I like think back on that week. And I mean, even like my family's, like, honestly, I honestly do not know how my mom, dad, sister, and brother-in-law survived in that house. Like, it was so, yeah, like my dad making meals, my mom trying, like it was chaotic, and then you guys from afar, like it was just out of this world. And like you said, like Alex, like you guys were grieving your loss, but like focusing on me, which can cause like delayed grief. Like I remember, I think I eventually, I mean, I don't remember you being 6 feet away in the driveway. I don't even know if I'd come out. Some people would come visit to my parents in the driveway and I just wouldn't get off the couch. I think I got off for you, but some people I just wouldn't. But eventually, I think it was like a few weeks later, I went for a walk with you.
Yeah, we took Chester out.
And I kind of walked around, but even then it was just this, like, even still to this day, you kind of like look back on it and you're like, did that happen? Like, was I in that horror movie? Like, was I the main character? Like, it doesn't make sense.
It still doesn't.
No.
To this day, it still doesn't when I just think about it. And like, even like kind of preparing for this podcast this morning, I was just like looking at some old photos and like, even just thinking about like some of the random nights in like your apartment and like just all those like funny random things, like it just doesn't make sense still. And I guess we'll never really truly know like why this happened. But
what is like is there like one thing you remember during that week that I said or my mom said or someone said or you said to each other that like really sticks out, or is it all just like blurry for both of you?
I mean, I might speak for both of us here, so correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but I think one of the hardest phone calls that, I mean, aside from the phone calls with you, those were horrific. But talking to Alex and saying like, we need to keep her alive, like that.
Yeah.
That was like such a gut punch, and I said it out loud and I meant it. Like it wasn't something that you just as like a slip of the tongue or a slip of the brain.
Remember too, we were saying we honestly don't think that you would have been here if you didn't have Chester.
110%.
I remember, see, look, goosebumps again. I remember Kelly was like, if that dog wasn't here, like I don't know how else we were doing everything we could from afar, but it's not like we could be there to like force feed you water and force feed you food. And like like Kelly said, like we were legit scared and we thought like not that it was our job, but like we're your best friends and like we wanted to be there for you and we were just so scared on how we were going to make that work.
I like will say to the like my dying day, like if we did not have Chester, like I can confidently say I would not be here, because like Chester is like the last thing I have of Colby, and when like Colby loved that dog, that like, and I know people are like, that's so weird to compare it to like as a child, but like that was our child together, and like he loved that dog so much that like in my thought process was like I couldn't, like Chester was even grieving, like Chester was like crying into his like clothes and like scratching the like couch that he was like unresponsive on, and like my parents had to get rid of the couch. Like if Chester, yeah, if there was no Chester, there would be like no me on this podcast today, and still to this day, like that dog is my life. So yeah, like I would not, that's like such a gift looking back that Colby got me that dog, because like yeah, I would not be here without him. Like your family and friends can only like do so much, for sure. But talking about that now, so after that week and now like almost 5 years out, what's one thing that has like shocked you both that I'm like still dealing with? Or like obviously young widowhood was new to me, it was new to you guys, it was like you expect widows in your later years. So just like watching me navigate the young widowhood or public eye, or dating and marrying again. Obviously, Alex, you were pregnant and weren't able to attend bachelorettes and weddings, but Kelly, you were in my wedding as well with Colin, and just kind of navigating yourself and watching me navigate, and my family and Colby's loved ones navigating the 5 years.
Do you want to go first, Al?
I kind of said it quickly before, but the hate that you get, and not like privately, like there's public hate too. And I'm appalled at some of the things people have said in the past, and I'm sure you still get more that now you just delete sometimes, but sometimes we'll screenshot them and send them to Kelly and I, and sometimes it's fake accounts and they'll do something, but a lot of the time it's people's like real accounts, and they just write comments on, like if the Oilers or the Bruins had put up a photo of Colby, they'll write in the comments and just the things about, and then when she did meet Colin and she started dating again and she was happy, the amount of hate that you received just for living your life. People, I don't know what people expected from you, and obviously there's no rule book on how to deal with this or what timeline, and it's you living your life and it should be no one else's business. And just like the disgusting, rude comments that you'd get, not always from, like I said, private people either. Like sometimes the hate came from people that she knows and people that you would never think would be shooting hate at her. Yeah. You just sometimes like, Em keeps things close to her chest, and again, she gets hate for that, but there's reasons for it. And it's because even friends and family that you would think would protect her sometimes have not. And it just, that sucks. Like as your best friend, and Kelly and I, your best friends, like seeing that, like that's been so hard for me and for her. I just personally hate it, but
Yeah, I 100% agree. And one of the biggest things, like just kind of like rolling off that in addition, is like you've been so open about this journey, like from the beginning. And
This is your favorite line.
you have been.
I
Like,
know where this is going, and it's so true.
I say this to you all the time. I'm like, it's not a secret. Like this happened in this trauma is not a secret. And it's baffling to me that like for some reason like people are hateful of it, and then they're like surprised that you're talking about it. And it's like, again, this is not a secret, and this is somebody's life. Like this was Colby's life. And I think that one of the other big things that surprises me is sometimes people on the internet, in real life, whatever, just expect that, okay, 5 years have passed, so now you should just like not talk about him ever again. And that's really shocking to me. Even like last year I ran the Boston Marathon in honor of Colby, and we raised, almost $13,000 for the Boston Bruins Foundation in Colby's name. And some people were like, kind of like, oh, well, like she's getting married, so why are you doing that? And it's like, just because she's getting married doesn't mean that Colby didn't exist. And that doesn't mean that I can't love Colin with open arms. And so I just think it's surprising that there's that kind of like all or nothing mentality from, like Alex said, sometimes strangers, but sometimes people that know you really well as well. And it's sad and it's surprising. And one of the other things that I said earlier on this podcast was like, if you did not know that loss and you don't know the profoundness of that loss, then like that is a privilege and I'm glad for you. But, I guess I'm surprised that people are not more open-minded. And again, it's not a secret. This is not new information. So
I feel like
I'm saying it all the time to you.
I know. I feel like you're being very graceful right now, Kelly. I think you are being very graceful. Yeah, I think it's really hard to, I feel like it would be fair to say that it's just all a journey navigating, even still 5 years later, how to do.
We're proud of you. Very, very proud of you.
And that's an understatement for sure. Oh, come on. We made it so good.
Yeah. None of us cried.
And I was like choked up multiple times.
Yeah. I got goosebumps.
Same.
You're too far away to hug. You're in a different country right now.
Yeah, come on. Oh, well, I'm in the US too. Not in Cali. On the East Coast. I mean, that's why you're doing this podcast, though.
Yeah.
To tell the story, right?
Think of all the people that you're helping and every widow and every person that's going through some sort of shit that listens to your podcast and your stories and everything you put on your Instagram. You're helping so many people.
Yeah.
100%.
I feel like it's like, yeah. I feel like there's like media. Definitely, I always say this. There's like the medium and like the not medium. And I definitely feel like the non-media M is feeling heavy. But yeah, thankful for you two and family and friends that have been there for like all stages and that like are accepting of new stages, even if they don't agree with them or whatever. But yeah, I feel like that's what I focus on and what Colby would want me to focus on. And it's remembering like whoever you like, I think back on that like Nashville trip, like being like truly happy or like the places you feel like safe in are like around the people that like know you best or like have also seen you at your worst. So yeah, thankful for you guys, and I know Cole is too, for sure.
We miss him.
I think there's a lot of memories and some spiciness there.
We love you.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Let's plan another Nashville trip soon. I want that burrito truck.
It can be done.
Perfect.
Preferably like before 1 a.m. though. Because I'm getting old.
I know. Seriously. Okay. Well, thanks for coming on.
No problem.
Love you guys.